Hi, you're watching part 1 of an 8-part series about the Igavania or Metroidvania genre Castlevania games. This one is about Symphony of the Night. Castlevania Symphony of the Night released in 1997 for the Sony PlayStation. The game is an action platformer about the exploration of a giant demonic castle, combat against enemies, and finding items. It is, at time of writing, ranked 34th best game of all time on the Glitchwave game charts, which is bonkers. As a direct sequel to the previous Castlevania game and evolution of the series, the plan was to extend the playtime of this game by giving it a big world, an RPG leveling system, and loads of items to collect. The developer's goal was to fill this Castlevania chock full of stuff, which meant expanding gameplay systems, number of enemies, number of weapons, sub-weapons, traversable space, everything. SotN does one really neat thing in its pursuit of having a longer runtime than past Castlevanias. When a player is done with the game, when they're satisfied, is truly up to them. If they want more content out of Symphony of the Night, it's there. There are several distinct layered goalposts of 100% completion. Maybe for you, completing the map is 100% completion. Or maybe you'd want to fill out the bestiary by killing one of each enemy. Symphony of the Night can turn into a 100-hour-plus long game if the player chooses to complete the bestiary by finding out what every rare drop is from every enemy. Or maybe some player out there wants to max out the power level of the Muramasa, a main weapon that grows stronger with the amount of blood it absorbs. The most unique part of SotN, though, is its fighting game motion inputs. In the previous game, Rondo of Blood, the unlockable bonus character Maria had one secret motion input move: up, quarter circle forward, plus attack. Symphony of the Night follows that up by having many fighting game motion input moves, which are called spells and drain the magic meter. The spells are a really weird augmentation to the combat system that new players are likely to ignore almost completely, though there are so many that it's not uncommon to accidentally trigger a spell. So, player character Alucard Castlevania ends up being this character whose basic functions are simple to pick up, but who also has this unbelievable hidden depth built in for players yearning for a level of mastery. There's complicated movement tech. There are special move homing missile attacks. There's a special move that damages the entire screen and heals Alucard. Fighting game inputs in single-player Metroidvania games like this are still mostly a rarity. When Alucard is playable again in Dawn of Sorrow as a bonus character, the developers did not bother re-implementing most of his spells. Even in games partly inspired by SotN, the use of motion inputs is usually relegated to some secret technique that the player isn't supposed to learn about until almost at the end of a game. The high jump ability given by the Gravity Boots relic is really useful, but could go completely unused by new players due to its input requirement, a snappy down-up plus jump. The motion inputs bled out of the spell system and crossed into the game's functions that really could have just been mapped to one button. Symphony of the Night's bonus character, Richter, also got some motion inputs. He gets his own version of the high jump with the same motion input as Alucard's, and an invincible air dash attack, which uses the same motion input as Maria's from Rondo of Blood. Richter does not use the R and L buttons to activate transformations like Alucard, so those buttons just sit there. You can't map Richter's special moves to these empty buttons. You just need to master the motion inputs to use the moves. There are 3 different versions of Symphony of the Night, and 2 of them, the 2 that are not the PlayStation version, have different playable Marias. The first one, in the Saturn version, has her own full set of motion inputs. This Saturn Maria is, by the way, the only reason to play the Saturn version. It's bad. In this game about finding cool items and then opening the menu to check what they do, opening and closing the menu takes 5 years. This pause menu is where the map screen lives in the Saturn version too. The best part about the weird motion inputs is that skillful play feels rewarding and is rewarded. SotN has both a healthy speedrunning scene and a really cool randomizer with all sorts of options for what kind of Symphony of the Night you might want to play. The randomizer even has presets for casual runs, so SotN Rando can be enjoyed both casually and speedrunually. A fundamental part of the most technical side of Symphony of the Night is its backdash for Alucard. One of the most finicky motion input moves, it's a full hold jump, up, circle from up to backward to down to forward, release jump that makes Alucard in bat form careen across the screen, completely invulnerable and becoming one of the most powerful attacks in the game. What's more, in the PlayStation version and PSP/Requiem version, there is a short window when you can perform this input again to chain the move into itself.
Just don't choke.
This hard-to-pull-off move goes so fast that it's everywhere in speedruns and randomizer races, which are often played by speedrunners for fun.
I'm fine with this.
I have played over 50 hours of Symphony of the Night in my life, and I've only managed to chain this air dash move into itself, like, twice? In the Saturn version, for some reason this move was overhauled to chain into itself forever, until you either hit a wall or run out of magic juice. This weird move that most players of SotN will never even perform is incredible. Most players wouldn't even see it unless they tune into a speedrunning marathon or look up speedruns on their own. And speaking of packing as much as possible into Symphony of the Night, how did the rest of that go? Remember the bloodthirsty Muramasa? There's a game system for how much particle effect blood splatter comes in contact with Alucard, built only for a spell effect and this one sword, which itself is a rare drop from one enemy. So many weapons have simple fighting game inputs of their own, unique special moves tied to individual weapons. One sword, the Jewel Sword, has a quarter circle forward plus attack that throws coins on the ground that don't even do anything at all. To get this sword, you have to break 2 secret walls, run across the floor of this secret area as a wolf, then go backward, hugging the ceiling of this area as a bat, and that makes the otherwise inaccessible Jewel Sword room open up. You can make Alucard a watermelon. You can make him Hatsune Miku. The Dark Shield is not Dark Element. The Dark Blade is also not Dark Element. The Saturn SotN devs drew a whole new set of Richter sprites that better reflect his new design, since his old in-game sprites were all modeled after his Rondo of Blood appearance. These new Richter sprites never return, because they are not good. Even playable Richter mode in the Saturn version uses his old sprites. But wait, there's a secret code to play as Longcoat Richter. It's hold L, R, up, and A, which selects Richter, then continue holding up, let go of L and R, and hold C with up to play as Saturn Coat Richter. If Alucard falls asleep in a chair, the second fairy familiar, cut from the international version of the PlayStation release, but present in all other releases, sings Alucard a lullaby, which is sort of a pop ballad arrangement of the track Lost Painting. Thanks for watching this Symphony of the Night video. Subscribe to see the next part, a video about the next game, Circle of the Moon, the only game in the set that Iga, the Castlevania guy, had no part in developing. What if an unrelated team were to take inspiration from Symphony of the Night, but try to combine it with classic Castlevania in their own way? What if that game had to be finished in time to be a launch title for the Game Boy Advance? Oh no.
Who are you? Servants, come forth from the gates of hell! What?
Let's get out of here.
Pile of sea